Hey you guys, Phoebe here from Little Grey Box. Now Matt and I are spending the next few days exploring some of the islands of Queensland's coastline, and we are starting right here on the Southern Great Barrier Reef at Lady Musgrave Island. Now this beautiful destination is located about 2 hours boat drive away from Bundaberg, and it is stunning. Set on 3,000 acres of living reef with a protected lagoon, Lady Musgrave Island is the perfect place to come snorkeling. It is one of the few islands anywhere along the entire Great Barrier Reef where you can swim, snorkel and dive by day and camp out by night. Now it's just over 4 hours drive from Brisbane to get here, or you can fly into Bundaberg or Gladstone. And it is the second island in the Great Barrier Reef chain of islands, with the first, southernmost, being Lady Elliot Island. So there is an abundance of wildlife here at Lady Musgrave Island, including an insane number of birds. These are beautiful Personia trees, and there are white-capped noddy terns that nest here, and the way these trees are growing out like this, they're like tendrils coming out of the earth. It is unlike anything I've ever seen before. It is just so wild. There's like a David Attenborough. Oh my goodness. Now, there are daily boat trips which will depart from the port of Bundaberg, town of 1770 and Gladstone Marina, you guys. So we are doing today with Lady Musgrave Experience, and we have had a fantastic time. It was quite calm today. I will say this, I get very boat sick, and today was no exception for me, but I think that was my fault. I took some ginger tablets and didn't really take medicine that was strong enough. And when I did get sick, the staff were amazing. They were running around checking on people and helping everybody out. So if you do get boat sick like I do, make sure you take the proper medicine and don't be a fool like I was today, you guys.
So while you're on the island today, you probably picked up a piece of coral and had a look at it. Noticed that it was full of tiny little holes.
So many questions that I wanna ask, but I can find the reasons why. You always find a small excuse to leave.
So we just jumped in for a bit of a snorkel. The water is so clear. You can see everything. Now, something else really exciting that we're about to do is go for a scuba dive. This is something I've been dying to do my whole life, and today is the day I'm going to do it. It is like a beginner's course, so you don't need your certificates. It's just an hour under the water. I am so excited! What better place to do it than right here on the Great Barrier Reef.
Don't go, just leave, no stay with me. I'm incomplete. I got mixed emotions, can't make my mind up.
So that was with Lady Musgrave Experience, and if you are looking to get out there, you're looking to do it, I 10 out of 10 recommend. Meals are included. It's just fantastic. I am starving as per usual, so we're gonna go and get ourselves a big feed, and then we're probably gonna have an early night because we are beat, and we need to be up early tomorrow because we are doing something really fun. Good morning, you guys. So we are up really early this morning. We spent the night at a place called Bagara, which is a beautiful little spot along the coastline, and we stayed at the Point. Great spot if you're looking for somewhere cool to stay. Now we are on the road because we are going to Hervey Bay. Woohoo! Few different ways that you can get over to Fraser Island, but I'm just going to talk about how we did it. Fraser Island is a World Heritage listed island located along the southeastern coast of Queensland. It is 123 kilometers long and 22 kilometers wide. So to put that into perspective for you, it is considered to be the largest sand island in the world. So we came across on the barge from Hervey Bay, and that ride took about 50 minutes, and you guys, we got to meet their cat Flinders, who lives on the barge. He is just so sweet, loves a good scratchy massage. Now for us, the cost of a return ticket was around about $270 for our vehicle and us, and that's because we are in peak season. But all of that was actually included in our four-wheel drive hire, and you are going to need a four-wheel drive if you're going to do your own drive experience like we are. Of course, there are walk-on options where you can just walk on the barge, stay at spots like Kingfisher Bay, and they do the tours themselves. But if you do want to have that solo adventure like we are, you're going to need one of these. Now our car hire for 2 days with all of our inclusions like our barge ticket, that was $700 odd. Before we took the car, we had to do a bit of an intro course, so there is a video they play with lots of safety instructions. There are quite a few accidents that happen on Fraser every year, so make sure you pay attention and do what you're supposed to do when it comes to road rules and all of that kind of stuff. But you guys, we are loving having our own four-wheel drive. We've done Fraser before and we did it kind of the walk-on, walk-off experience, and this is better. It's really nice having your own car and being able to go where you want, spend more time where you like, and yeah, take off and see the different parts of the island. Our first stop is here at Lake Wabi, and this place is beautiful. It's so dramatic. You have this beautiful green bushland set above it and all around. We just walked down through here. It was a really, really lovely walk. And then below, nestled in, you've got Lake Wabi itself, and it is a stunning green color. There are people all lined up on the edge of it, jumping in for a swim. It is really, really lovely to see. And then if you come over here, you can see more of this dramatic landscape. This is more like a moonscape, this huge sand dune. And as I've been told, the sand dune is actually encroaching on Lake Wabi. So you should come and see it while you can, because nature is taking its course, and at some point Lake Wabi will cease to be and it will all be sand dune. But for now, this place is a nature lover's paradise. We thought we would be really clever and come to Lake Mackenzie at golden hour, right? Makes sense. But we've been here before and seen it during the middle of the day, and it is stunning. And right now, it doesn't look like that. So we're going to chalk this one up to a fail. Now, standing here on the beach doesn't look how we want to, but Matt just put the drone up. So we're going to call it a day on the sightseeing, and we're going to come back and do this again tomorrow. I think the sunrise is going to happen over there, and it's going to hit this lake really early in the morning, and it's going to look spectacular. So we are going to go and check into our accommodation. We're going to have something to eat. Hopefully, if we're lucky, catch a little bit of the sunset on the beach out the front of the resort, and then we're going to be bright and early up tomorrow down here, ready to swim and show you the real Lake Mackenzie. Somehow we managed to make it back in time here to the pier right next to Kingfisher Bay Resort. And this is how you want to end the day. This sunset is incredible. The reflections over the water. You guys, if you do one thing on Fraser, make it this. Good morning, you guys. So we are starting our day here at Lake Mackenzie. This is our second shot. Let me check the time. It is 7:40 in the morning, and the light is significantly better than when we tried yesterday afternoon at golden hour. So if you are looking for the right time to come here, you want to make sure that sun is over the top of the trees so you can see just how clear this water is. Now, Fraser Island is home to over 100 freshwater lakes, and you guys, They are some of the cleanest in the world, and Lake Mackenzie is no exception. It covers an area of about 150 hectares. It is 5 meters deep or just over, and the water here is beautiful. Along the shore, it is so clear with the white sand, it just has no color, and then it grades into this beautiful blue, and then it gets darker the further out you go. And it is one of my favorite swimming spots in the world because it is so calm and still. It is pristine and beautiful, and this white sand beach is just unbelievable. And hey, you don't even have to worry about sharks. You guys, yes, Fraser Island has a dingo population. I believe it to be somewhere around 120 dingoes, and they are considered to be pure, and that means that they have not bred with dogs and had their lineage watered down. So no dogs or anything like that are allowed over here, and these dingoes are pure. Now, dingo safety is of the utmost importance. I have seen some stories in the news of tourists feeding them or trying to take selfies with them, and that is just not on. They are wild animals. If you're from North America, it might be good to kind of think of them the same way you might think of bear safety. So that is, just don't carry anything with a smell with you. You don't want to be eating food along the lakes or anything like that. You want to make sure that you are not approaching them, and if one does approach you, you want to make sure you're nice and confident. Don't panic, don't run, stand your ground and calmly call for help. But if you follow all the rules, you shouldn't run into trouble. And hey, if you're lucky enough to see a dingo in the wild, it is quite the treat. And here along Lake Mackenzie, I can see some dingo footprints in the sand. So they are around. Do not underestimate them. Follow the safety rules. More than its fair share of shipwrecks over the years, but the most famous would have to be this one, the SS Mahino. Now this thing is actually really old. To give you an idea, it was commissioned as a hospital ship in Europe during World War I, you guys. It was eventually sold to the Japanese for scrap, and while it was being towed, the cyclonic storm hit and it snapped the tow lead, and the poor thing, without its rudders, it floated here onto the beach where it has stood ever since, and it is beautiful. It's all rusty, covered in barnacles. The water around it is this bright turquoise color. It is so majestic jutting out of the sand, so make sure you come and check it out. It's definitely one of my favorite spots on Fraser.
Still thinking about how we met.
Eli Creek is just a short drive south from the Mahino shipwreck, you guys, and you have to come here. So it's this beautiful little creek that is flowing out to the ocean. The water is moving and you can float on top of it. So bring a floaty, bring a donut, a ring, something like that. It's really quite shallow. The water is cool, fresh and crisp. There is this canopy of trees over the top. Again, it's one of my favorite places on Fraser. I know I keep saying that, but I love this spot. You have to come here. I just can't get enough of it. Let's swim.
I played it by heart, and now I sing. I'm with you. I'm with you. to Mexico. I'm turning up the radio, 'cause I'm with you now.
Now Fraser Island is huge, and really we've only had one night and kinda 2 days to see and do as much as we could, and we have barely scratched the surface. There are still spots like Indian Head, the Champagne Pools, and so many more that you can see and do. We're actually on our way back to the barge, but we wanted to stop at one last spot along the way, and that is here at Central Station. So up the top you can explore this whole heritage trail where it explains the significance of Central Station and how it was a key part of the forestry industry here on the island, and how it once housed 400 to 500 families. But now what I love most about it is this walk. So we are doing a boardwalk along Woongoolba Creek. The water down there is beautifully clear. I mean, it's so clear that it almost looks like there's nothing down there, but there is, and it is stunning. You get to walk through this beautiful microclimate of a rainforest. There are so many great trees and those little fern things that attach to trees everywhere you can spot, and it's a really peaceful walk and a great spot to stop while you're on your way back to catch the barge back to the mainland.
Through the autumn and the winter snow.
You know, I always like to have a takeaway moment from every trip. I like to learn things as I travel, and I always like to look for the lesson in every adventure, and that's really where travel well comes from. And for this trip, it took me a minute to get it, but as we were driving here to Central Station, Matt and I drove past an area, the Blackbutt Forest, and the trees there were a little bit scorched on the side. They looked like they had been burnt recently, and at first I felt a bit sad, you know, oh no, there's been a fire here, and you think about animals that have lost their lives and the difficulty that the fire would have caused people on the island. And then I noticed all the greenery pushing through the bottom, and it reminded me of something I read a really long time ago about for there to be creation, there has to be destruction. And that's so true, and it's something that is really powerful to think about in life, and it's something I think about a lot when bad things happen or something happens in my life that is upsetting or stressful or exhausting. It's really important to think, okay, something new can spring forward from this bad thing that has happened, and I'm going to focus on that. I'm going to focus on the creation and the new life instead of the destruction and the bad thing that happened. So something new that Matt and I thought that we would start doing is to share with you guys our top tips for each adventure we have, and we're going to start that right here with this one. So these are my top travel well tips for visiting the Southern Great Barrier Reef and Fraser Island. Number 1. So if you are from overseas especially, I would encourage you to try and plan your trip with public holiday and school holidays in mind. Just get on the internet, Google Queensland school holidays, and you will find where they are, and that will show you the peak seasons. So by visiting in off season or even shoulder season, you will save a little bit of money. Number 2, so the Great Barrier Reef actually spans an area the size of Japan. So it's no wonder when you mention the Great Barrier Reef, many people think of areas like Cairns, but you really don't need to go that far to visit it. I mean, the Southern Great Barrier Reef is super accessible, you guys. You can fly from Brisbane up to spots like Bundaberg and be out on the reef in 2.5 hours at the most. Number 3, be sure to follow the safety tips everywhere you go, and that is so important. Accidents really do happen, and whether you're visiting the Southern Great Barrier Reef or here on Fraser Island, please you guys, make sure you are safe in the water, make sure you listen to your park rangers, make sure you are very careful when it comes to dingoes, and you are very careful when it comes to driving a four-wheel drive on Fraser Island. Number 4, don't underestimate Australian weather conditions. Now, Aussie locals are probably pretty familiar with all of this, and they know what to do. I know Matt and I are pretty handy when it comes to surviving Australian weather conditions, but if you are from overseas, please don't underestimate it. That heat is intense, the sun has some real bite to it, and it is very easy to get sunstroke and to become dehydrated if you aren't paying attention, and that goes for both Fraser Island and the Southern Great Barrier Reef. Number 5, please don't litter, and if you do see litter, pick it up and put it in a bin. Please don't touch any of the wildlife, don't trample on any of the plants, don't take any mementos, don't take coral from the Great Barrier Reef. You know, don't do anything that's going to stress out our wildlife or cause anything to change whatsoever unless it's for the better, and we would really appreciate that when you visit. That's your friendly PSA from your local Aussies. And with that, you guys, our time here has come to an end. Like I said, we barely scratched the surface of both areas, but this was just to give you a little bit of a taste and kind of inspire you, show you what there is to see and do here, and hopefully you'll plan your own adventure very soon. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Now, if you don't already, be sure to subscribe and say hello in the comments below. Have a great weekend, and I will see you next week. Love ya!